I need your help me please subscribe my Chandler. He poured the champagne before he spoke. That was his first mistake. If he had looked at me, really looked, he might have seen it. The stillness before impact, the quiet before the storm. But he didn't. Instead, he lifted his glass, pride shining in his eyes, and said with a grin, "Merry Christmas. Darling, there's something we want to share." That one word, "we," sliced through the air sharper than any blade I could have held. She stood beside him, delicate pearls resting on her collarbone, hands trembling as they cradled her stomach, that painted smile pretending at purity. My replacement, my punishment. He turned toward her, his chest swelling with pride, like a man unveiling his masterpiece. "She's pregnant," he announced, voice heavy with triumph. "We're having a baby, a real family." Then he looked back at me, searching for forgiveness, approval, or maybe the satisfaction of my humiliation. He expected tears. He wanted me broken, pleading, screaming that life was unfair, that my body had failed me, that I was less than her. But instead, I smiled, slow, deliberate, because this moment wasn't his victory. It was mine. He just didn't know the game had already ended. I met Adrian 8 years ago. He was the kind of man who made promises sound like poetry. Sharp suits, softer lies. I fell for the way he said my name, as if it were a secret he intended to protect. We built a life together, or rather, I built it, and he simply lived inside it. I told myself we were a team, even as I began fading into the background of my own marriage. The doctors called it infertility. He called it failure. I thought he was grieving too. But grief doesn't leave lipstick stains on collars. The first time I noticed, I didn't confront him. I watched quietly. The late nights, the sudden love of cologne, the new password on his phone after years of openness. When I finally found the messages, I didn't cry. I read every word, memorized the way he spoke to her, gentler, freer, more alive than he'd ever been with me. He told her I was barren, cold, a mistake he regretted. It was almost funny, because by then I had already started dismantling him. It began with the finances. He believed every account, every asset was shared. He was wrong. A year earlier, after one of his business trips that lasted too long, I had rewritten everything. He never noticed the lawyer I hired under my maiden name, or that the shares he boasted about were already mine. Then came the company. He ran it. I owned it. Quietly, through a trust he signed without reading, too arrogant to check the fine print. And the girl, Elise, 24. Young, soft, exactly the kind of woman who believed him. I almost pitied her. Almost. When I discovered she was pregnant, I saw my chance. I reached out, not as his wife, but as a concerned stranger, a quiet friend. She confided everything. Every lie, every promise. He told her he'd leave me after Christmas. That was the last promise he ever made. And so here we were, Christmas Day, the tree glowing behind him, the scent of pine and hypocrisy thick in the air. He waited for my tears. Instead, he got the truth. I raised my glass, met his eyes, and said, "Congratulations, but you might want to get a second opinion." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" I smiled wider. "The baby isn't yours." The color drained from his face. The room froze. Even the fire seemed to hold its breath. Elise's voice trembled. "What?" I looked at her, poor, sweet Elise, and whispered, "I'm sorry you had to find out like this." Then I reached into my purse and slid an envelope across the table. My hands didn't shake. I'd sent a sample from one of Adrian's grooming kits to a private lab. The results had arrived yesterday. She opened it. "Read it." And then the tears came. Hers, not mine. He was sterile. Had been for years. The diagnosis dated 6 months after that gym accident he never told me about. But his computer had told me everything. He knew, and he blamed me for his failure, for shame. Now the truth stood between us, solid and merciless. He tried to speak, to explain, to salvage what was left. But I stood first, calm, certain. "I've already filed for divorce," I said evenly. "The company's mine. The house, too. I left you the car. It suits you. All shine, no substance. He stared at me like a man waking from a dream into a nightmare. Elise couldn't even look at him. I walked past him, pausing only at the door. "Merry Christmas, Adrian." I whispered, "You always wanted a child. Now you can start by taking care of yourself." I didn't look back. Outside, snow was falling. Soft, quiet, indifferent. People think revenge is a storm, loud, wild, destructive. They're wrong. Real revenge is calm, precise, final.